Welcome, dear traveler of the night sky. Tonight, we begin a gentle journey through the vastness of the universe. A journey into the quiet story of how galaxies are born. Here, in this calm space, we drift together through science, not as cold numbers, but as living poetry written in starlight. Every galaxy, every cluster of stars, is a chapter in the universe's unfolding story. And together, we will read it slowly, peacefully, like pages turning in the dark. If you find comfort in these soft explorations, if you enjoy drifting through the cosmos with me, I invite you to pause for just a moment and gently support this journey. A simple like helps more dreamers find their way here. A quiet comment lets me know what thoughts or feelings the stars awaken in you. When you share this video, you help this small universe of calm science grow, reaching other curious souls who may also need rest and wonder tonight. And if you wish to join me again for future voyages to other galaxies, to stars, to the mysteries of the night, please subscribe. Together, we can make this a home for gentle curiosity, a place where science feels like stargazing. So, settle in. Let your thoughts grow soft, your breathing steady. The cosmos awaits. And tonight, we drift into the birth of galaxies. You drift back in time to a universe still young and silent. Tiny ripples in invisible seas of energy slowly gather like whispers shaping the future. You feel the hush of darkness, vast and endless, waiting for the first sparks of creation. This is where galaxies begin, not in fire, but in patience. Close your eyes and let yourself drift backward. You are leaving behind the familiar stars of the night sky, the swirling shape of the Milky Way, the glowing arms that hold your world in place. You are gliding beyond planets, beyond suns, beyond even the clusters of galaxies that seem endless. In their abundance, you are moving back through time, back through space, returning to a moment when there was almost nothing. It is quiet here, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, as though the silence itself is pressing against you. There are no stars yet, no planets, no galaxies lighting the sky. The universe is only a newborn, less than 500,000 years old. You find yourself floating in a sea of darkness, endless in every direction, and yet you are not alone. For even in this stillness, something stirs. Tiny ripples move across the vast unseen ocean that fills space. They are not waves of sound, for sound needs air, and here there is none. Instead, they are ripples of matter and energy, soft fluctuations, slight gatherings, the faintest of whispers shaping what is to come. Imagine the surface of a lake at night. The air is still. The water seems smooth, but if you watch closely, you see tiny movements, circles spreading outward where a single drop has fallen, lines stretching where a breeze has passed. In this early universe, the invisible fabric of space carries the same kind of delicate disturbances. They are faint, but they matter. They are the seeds of structure, the beginnings of form, the blueprint upon which galaxies will one day be built. You drift among them, these ripples. They are not visible to your eyes, but you feel their presence, like the gentle rise and fall of a tide beneath your body. Some regions are slightly denser, pulling matter toward them, while others are thinner, letting matter drift away. It is a game of balance, a dance of gravity. Even now, when there is almost nothing to see, the universe has been expanding since the first moment of its birth, a great release of energy and space. Yet, in this expansion, the ripples remain. They do not vanish. They are preserved, stretched, softened, but still they're faint fingerprints of the very beginning. You might think of them as the memory of the Big Bang etched into the fabric of the cosmos, waiting to unfold, and slowly they begin to shape destiny. Where matter gathers, gravity strengthens, and the gathering grows stronger. Where matter matters, space becomes emptier, colder, quieter. In this way, the universe begins to separate itself into places of possibility and places of stillness. Already, the story of galaxies is being written, though the ink is invisible and the page is vast. You take a breath, even though breath is only imagined here, and let yourself sink deeper into the vision. The darkness is not frightening. It is soft, patient, protective, like the womb of something immense. You sense that it is waiting, waiting for light, waiting for warmth, waiting for stars to awaken and scatter their glow. But not yet. For now, there is only silence, only drifting, only the quiet movement of ripples through space. Time passes, though here it is hard to measure. Millions of years roll by like slow exhalations, and still the universe is wrapped in darkness. But the ripples are growing stronger, gathering more matter, pulling invisible threads tighter and tighter. You imagine dust, though dust has not yet formed. You imagine clouds, though clouds are still far away. What exists here is simpler: hydrogen and helium, the lightest elements. Born in the heat of the Big Bang, they drift like unseen mist, filling every corner of the cosmos. Gravity tugs at them, gently at first, then with greater insistence. Slowly, silently, the universe begins to organize itself. It is easy to forget that all of this, the stars, the galaxies, the planets, even you, begins with these tiny ripples. Without them, the universe would be smooth and featureless, a blank canvas without shape or story. With them, there is the possibility of texture, of gathering, of growth. The galaxies that will one day light the sky are already, in some quiet way, written into this moment. You drift farther, as though carried on the current of time itself. The universe continues to expand. The ripples continue to shape it. The silence lingers, deep and endless, but within it you begin to sense a pressure, a readiness, a promise. The seeds have been planted. The stage is set. The universe waits for the first true burst of light. Let yourself rest in this anticipation. There is no rush here. Millions of years pass like gentle heartbeats, one after another, steady and calm. The cosmos is patient, and you are invited to be patient with it. Everything that will come, stars, galaxies, planets, life, will arise in its own time. For now, you simply drift in the quiet beginning, listening to the faint echoes of ripples shaping the future. You notice something extraordinary. Though the universe is dark, it is not empty of light entirely. There is a faint glow, a leftover warmth from the moment of creation itself. This soft radiation spreads everywhere, a quiet afterglow that fills all of space. You could call it the cosmic background, the memory of the fire that once burned everywhere. It is faint now, stretched thin by time, but it is still present. It is the first light you encounter, though it does not shine from stars. It is the whisper of the beginning, still alive, still glowing. You float in it, bathed in its quiet warmth. It does not dazzle or blind, but it comforts, like the memory of a candle after the flame has gone out. The universe is holding onto this light, carrying it forward, as though keeping a record of its earliest moments. One day, long into the future, beings like you will look back at this light, study it, measure it, and realize that it carries the imprint of those ripples, those first tiny fluctuations in the darkness. It will be the proof that galaxies were always waiting to be born. Time moves forward again. You sense gravity continuing its patient work, pulling matter into denser knots, letting empty regions grow wider. Space begins to take on structure, even if it cannot yet be seen. The invisible map of the cosmos is being drawn slowly, steadily, without sound or spectacle. And then, almost without noticing, you begin to feel a shift. The silence feels less final, the darkness less absolute. Somewhere far away, hydrogen clouds are beginning to collapse, gathering tighter and tighter under the pull of gravity. Their centers grow hotter, their atoms collide more fiercely, until, finally, a spark. It is not yet before your eyes, but you sense it. The first stars are about to awaken. Their light will break the silence. Their warmth will stir the cold. The galaxies you have been waiting for will take their first breath. You rest in this moment, right on the edge of transformation. You are in the quiet before dawn, the breath held just before release. The ripples have done their work, shaping space, gathering matter, preparing the stage. Now the universe leans forward, ready to ignite, and so you drift, held in the darkness, knowing that soon the silence will break into light. The first sparks will glow, the first seeds will burn, and from them, galaxies will bloom. But for now, you remain here, in the hush of beginnings, in the patient quiet of ripples shaping the future. You linger on the thought of how something so vast can grow from such subtle stirrings, how entire galaxies can be born from whispers in the dark. You close your eyes against the vastness, letting the calm carry you. The silence deepens, but beneath it you feel the promise of light. A warmth gathers, not yet seen, but waiting. You rest in that promise, knowing that soon stars will open their eyes. And when they do, you will be there, drifting among them, watching the universe awaken. You watch as hydrogen gathers, pulled by gravity's steady hand. The gas folds inward until fire ignites, the first stars shimmering like lanterns in an infinite night. Each star is a seed, glowing, breathing, and promising the birth of something greater, the galaxies that will hold them. The darkness begins to soften, and the universe learns how to shine. The silence you have been drifting in begins to change. At first, it is only a suggestion, a soft stirring beneath the stillness. The ripples of matter that once seemed so faint have now gathered enough to hold your attention. Gravity, steady and tireless, is at work. It pulls hydrogen and helium together, tugging on invisible threads, collecting clouds of gas into denser and denser knots. You hover near one of these clouds. It is immense, far larger than any planet, larger even than whole solar systems will one day be. And yet, from a distance, it is only mist, faint and diffuse, almost transparent. You might drift right through it and never know you were passing through the seed of a star. But the cloud does not remain soft forever. Gravity keeps folding it inward, as though an unseen hand is gently but persistently squeezing it tighter. The gas swirls, gathers, spins. Within its center, pressure builds, rising with every inward pull. Hydrogen atoms, once content to float freely, are forced closer and closer until their boundaries blur, and they can no longer resist one another's presence. The temperature rises. Imagine the warmth of a campfire on Earth. Now magnify it until warmth becomes heat, and heat becomes searing brilliance. In the hidden core of the cloud, hydrogen is beginning to fuse. It is a quiet miracle for atoms becoming one, releasing energy not as a spark, but as a steady, glowing breath. And then the moment arrives. The cloud that was once only darkness bursts into radiance. A star is born. It does not roar to life with thunder. It does not crack the silence. It simply begins to shine, sending light outward in every direction. For the first time since the universe began, there is true illumination, not the fading afterglow of the Big Bang, but fresh light, newly created, alive in its own right. Watch as the glow spreads, soft at first, then brighter, filling the surrounding space. It feels like the lighting of a lantern in an endless night. The star is not alone. 4 other clouds are collapsing too, and one by one, more stars ignite. The darkness is still vast, but it is no longer unbroken. Pinpricks of light appear across the black canvas, scattered and shimmering, like seeds taking root in soil. Each star is a seed, and like seeds, they carry within them the possibility of more. Some will live long and steady, shining for billions of years. Others will burn quickly, fierce and short-lived, before scattering their elements outward in great explosions. From them, heavier atoms, carbon, oxygen, iron will be forged, the ingredients needed for planets, for oceans, for life. Already, the path toward everything familiar is being written in their hearts. You linger near one newborn star, letting its light fall across you. Its glow is not harsh, it is steady, warm, a reminder that energy and matter are forever entwined. You can almost feel its rhythm, the balance between gravity pulling inward and fusion pushing outward, a constant negotiation that allows the star to shine. Without this balance, it would collapse, or it would tear itself apart. But here, in this delicate equilibrium, it finds its voice. The universe is no longer only quiet. It is beginning to hum, not with sound, but with presence. Where once there was only darkness and invisible ripples, now there are points of brilliance. Imagine yourself standing in a vast field at night, and suddenly fireflies begin to appear, each glowing softly, each promising more to come. That is the universe in this moment, not yet crowded with galaxies, but no longer empty, no longer still. The stars do not remain scattered in isolation. Their gravity pulls them into clusters, families of light, bound together in shared orbits. These gatherings are the first hints of galaxies, though their shapes are not yet formed. What you see are the beginnings of islands of light, places where stars are born together, live together, and shape the space around them. Time passes again, and with it, the number of stars grows. Across the universe, countless hydrogen clouds collapse, countless fires ignite. The night grows more crowded, more textured, more alive. You drift through it slowly, feeling as though you are walking into a forest at dawn, where the first rays of sunlight slip between the trees, soft but certain, promising the full light of day. And yet, the darkness is not gone between the stars. Space remains vast and deep. Their light reaches far, but it does not erase the shadows. The balance between light and dark is part of the beauty here. Stars shine all the more brilliantly because they are set against silence. You pause and reflect on the scale of what you are witnessing. Each star you see is immense, far larger than your sun, far brighter than you could imagine if you were standing on Earth. And yet, from where you float, they appear as tiny pinpricks, delicate and fragile. It is the paradox of the universe. Things too vast for comprehension can still look small when placed in infinite space, but size does not diminish meaning. Each point of light holds energy, story, potential. Each one is a heartbeat in the growing body of the cosmos. You can feel the rhythm of it, steady, expanding, drawing you deeper into its calm. As you drift, you begin to wonder what will become of these stars. What stories will they tell as they live and die? Already you know the answer, at least in part. Some will remain steady, like guardians of the night. Others will swell and collapse, sending shockwaves of matter into the void. Those deaths will not be endings, but beginnings. From their ashes, planets will form, oceans will rise, life will take its first steps. The stars are not just seeds of light, they are seeds of everything. You linger in this thought, letting its comfort settle in you. You are connected to these first stars, even across billions of years. The atoms in your body, the carbon in your cells, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all of them were forged in stars like these. You are made of their light, shaped by their fire. To watch them being born is to watch the beginning of yourself. The universe continues to brighten. Stars gather in greater numbers, forming clusters that stretch into long filaments, glowing. Rivers of light against the darkness. The ripples from long ago have fulfilled their promise. They have created places where matter gathers, where gravity holds, where light blooms. Slowly, the cosmic web is beginning to take form. You sense that this is only the beginning. The stars are young, new to their radiance, but together they will weave the larger structures of the universe. They are not solitary sparks, but part of a greater pattern, one that stretches beyond your sight. The first seeds have been planted, but the garden is still unfolding. Rest in this moment, where the first lanterns glow in the night. The quiet beginning has given way to light, and light has given way to gathering. You feel yourself drifting toward what comes next, drawn by the pull of curiosity as much as by the flow of time. You think of the stars not only as seeds, but as stories, beginnings that will branch into countless forms. What shapes will emerge when enough of them come together? What patterns will gravity carve from their light? You feel the question settle gently within you, not urgent, but patient, waiting to be answered. For now, you remain among the stars, letting their glow wash over you, steady and soft. They are still young, still fragile, but their presence changes everything. The universe has learned how to shine, and you, drifting here, are witness to the dawn. You watch as hydrogen gathers, pulled by gravity's steady hand. The gas folds inward until fire ignites, the first stars shimmering like lanterns in an infinite night. Each star is a seed, glowing, breathing, and promising the birth of something greater, the galaxies that will hold them. The darkness begins to soften, and the universe learns how to shine. the silence you have been drifting in begins to change. At first, it is only a suggestion, a soft stirring beneath the stillness. The ripples of matter that once seemed so faint have now gathered enough to hold your attention. Gravity, steady and tireless, is at work. It pulls hydrogen and helium together, tugging on invisible threads, collecting clouds of gas into denser and denser knots. You hover near one of these clouds. It is immense, far larger than any planet, larger even than whole solar systems will one day be. And yet, from a distance, it is only mist, faint and diffuse, almost transparent. You might drift right through it and never know you were passing through the seed of a star. But the cloud does not remain soft forever. Gravity keeps folding it inward, as though an unseen hand is gently but persistently squeezing it tighter. The gas swirls, gathers, spins. Within its center, pressure builds, rising with every inward pull. Hydrogen atoms, once content to float freely, are forced closer and closer until their boundaries blur, and they can no longer resist one another's presence. The temperature rises. Imagine the warmth of a campfire on Earth. Now magnify it until warmth becomes heat, and heat becomes searing brilliance. In the hidden core of the cloud, hydrogen is beginning to fuse. It is a quiet miracle for atoms becoming one, releasing energy not as a spark, but as a steady, glowing breath. And then the moment arrives. The cloud that was once only darkness bursts into radiance. A star is born. It does not roar to life with thunder. It does not crack the silence. It simply begins to shine, sending light outward in every direction. For the first time since the universe began, there is true illumination, not the fading afterglow of the Big Bang, but fresh light, newly created, alive in its own right. Watch as the glow spreads, soft at first, then brighter, filling the surrounding space. It feels like the lighting of a lantern in an endless night. The star is not alone. 4 other clouds are collapsing too, and one by one, more stars ignite. The darkness is still vast, but it is no longer unbroken. Pinpricks of light appear across the black canvas, scattered and shimmering, like seeds taking root in soil. Each star is a seed, and like seeds, they carry within them the possibility of more. Some will live long and steady, shining for billions of years. Others will burn quickly, fierce and short-lived, before scattering their elements outward in great explosions. From them, heavier atoms, carbon, oxygen, iron will be forged, the ingredients needed for planets, for oceans, for life. Already, the path toward everything familiar is being written in their hearts. You linger near one newborn star, letting its light fall across you. Its glow is not harsh, it is steady, warm, a reminder that energy and matter are forever entwined. You can almost feel its rhythm, the balance between gravity pulling inward and fusion pushing outward, a constant negotiation that allows the star to shine. Without this balance, it would collapse, or it would tear itself apart. But here, in this delicate equilibrium, it finds its voice. The universe is no longer only quiet. It is beginning to hum, not with sound, but with presence. Where once there was only darkness and invisible ripples, now there are points of brilliance. Imagine yourself standing in a vast field at night, and suddenly fireflies begin to appear, each glowing softly, each promising more to come. That is the universe in this moment, not yet crowded with galaxies, but no longer empty, no longer still. The stars do not remain scattered in isolation. Their gravity pulls them into clusters, families of light, bound together in shared orbits. These gatherings are the first hints of galaxies, though their shapes are not yet formed. What you see are the beginnings of islands of light, places where stars are born together, live together, and shape the space around them. Time passes again, and with it, the number of stars grows. Across the universe, countless hydrogen clouds collapse, countless fires ignite. The night grows more crowded, more textured, more alive. You drift through it slowly, feeling as though you are walking into a forest at dawn, where the first rays of sunlight slip between the trees, soft but certain, promising the full light of day. And yet, the darkness is not gone between the stars. Space remains vast and deep. Their light reaches far, but it does not erase the shadows. The balance between light and dark is part of the beauty here. Stars shine all the more brilliantly because they are set against silence. You pause and reflect on the scale of what you are witnessing. Each star you see is immense, far larger than your sun, far brighter than you could imagine if you were standing on Earth. And yet, from where you float, they appear as tiny pinpricks, delicate and fragile. It is the paradox of the universe. Things too vast for comprehension can still look small when placed in infinite space, but size does not diminish meaning. Each point of light holds energy, story, potential. Each one is a heartbeat in the growing body of the cosmos. You can feel the rhythm of it, steady, expanding, drawing you deeper into its calm. As you drift, you begin to wonder what will become of these stars. What stories will they tell as they live and die? Already you know the answer, at least in part. Some will remain steady, like guardians of the night. Others will swell and collapse, sending shockwaves of matter into the void. Those deaths will not be endings, but beginnings. From their ashes, planets will form, oceans will rise, life will take its first steps. The stars are not just seeds of light, they are seeds of everything. You linger in this thought, letting its comfort settle in you. You are connected to these first stars, even across billions of years. The atoms in your body, the carbon in your cells, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all of them were forged in stars like these. You are made of their light, shaped by their fire. To watch them being born is to watch the beginning of yourself. The universe continues to brighten. Stars gather in greater numbers, forming clusters that stretch into long filaments, glowing. Rivers of light against the darkness. The ripples from long ago have fulfilled their promise. They have created places where matter gathers, where gravity holds, where light blooms. Slowly, the cosmic web is beginning to take form. You sense that this is only the beginning. The stars are young, new to their radiance, but together they will weave the larger structures of the universe. They are not solitary sparks, but part of a greater pattern, one that stretches beyond your sight. The first seeds have been planted, but the garden is still unfolding. Rest in this moment, where the first lanterns glow in the night. The quiet beginning has given way to light, and light has given way to gathering. You feel yourself drifting toward what comes next, drawn by the pull of curiosity as much as by the flow of time. You think of the stars not only as seeds, but as stories, beginnings that will branch into countless forms. What shapes will emerge when enough of them come together? What patterns will gravity carve from their light? You feel the question settle gently within you, not urgent, but patient, waiting to be answered. For now, you remain among the stars, letting their glow wash over you, steady and soft. They are still young, still fragile, but their presence changes everything. The universe has learned how to shine, and you, drifting here, are witness to the dawn. You turn slowly with the universe, watching galaxies twist and curl. Some flatten into spirals, graceful and serene, while others scatter into ellipses, soft and round. Their shapes are stories, sculpted by motion, time, and collisions. You feel the rhythm of form in the silence of space. You drift in the stillness of space, and yet, around you, nothing is ever still. The universe, like a slow dancer, is always moving, always reshaping itself. Here, among the quiet galaxies, begin to take on their forms. They are not random. They are not scattered without thought. Their shapes are whispers of their histories, records of their journeys, written in the arrangement of stars and dust. You see one, a grand spiral, turning delicately, its arms unfurling like ribbons in water. The center glows bright, a gentle heart, and from it extends curved trails of light. Each spiral arm is not a rigid line, but a flowing river of stars, drawn out by the slow, ceaseless pull of gravity and motion. You realize that what you see is not fixed. The spiral is alive, always shifting, always renewing itself, as stars are born and stars fade away. The spiral galaxy is one of the universe's most familiar shapes, but it is also among the most mysterious. Why does it curl like that? Why do the arms not simply scatter into space, dissolving into chaos? The answer, like so much in the cosmos, lies in balance. Gravity pulls inward, trying to draw all matter toward the center. Motion, the momentum of stars in orbit, pushes outward, resisting collapse. Between these two forces lies harmony, and harmony creates form. You imagine stirring cream into coffee, watching the liquid swirl into long arcs that stretch outward from the center. That swirling pattern is not unlike the galaxy you see. Stars trace their own invisible paths, and their combined movement shapes the spiral arms. Yet, unlike cream in coffee, galaxies hold together for billions of years. Their spirals endure, fragile yet resilient, because of the vastness of their scales and the quiet persistence of gravity. Not all galaxies are spirals. Some are smooth and round, elliptical in shape, their stars arranged like glowing spheres. These galaxies are quieter, less structured, less adorned with the delicate spirals that catch your eye. They are older, often the result of collisions and mergers where order gives way to a softer, more blended form. In them, you sense the memory of turbulence, the way to galaxies, meeting in the dark, lose their individual designs and merge into a single whole. Others are irregular, scattered, like splashes of paint, their shapes undefined. They are reminders that not all stories follow familiar arcs. Some are chaotic, the results of forces not yet balanced, of collisions that reshape and leave remnants drifting. And yet, even these irregular galaxies hold beauty, a wild kind of artistry in their unpredictability. As you drift closer to the spiral, you notice something remarkable. Its arms are not solid. They are not fixed lines of stars, frozen in place. They are patterns, like the crest of a wave, moving across the sea. The stars travel, each on its own path, but together they create the illusion of permanence. This is called a density wave, though you do not need to remember the term to feel its poetry. Imagine people walking in a crowd. Each person moves individually, yet from above, you might see a pattern form, a wave of motion, a rhythm of shapes that appears larger than the people themselves. Galaxies, too, create such patterns, their arms like music written across the sky. You find comfort in this. The spiral, though vast and seemingly eternal, is a momentary expression of motion, always renewed by the stars within it. It reminds you that form is not fixed. Even in the grandest scales, shapes are temporary, woven by time, unspooled by time, and woven again. Now you let your attention drift outward to the vast families of galaxies scattered across the universe. Each one carries a shape that tells its history. Spirals often dwell in quieter neighborhoods where they can grow undisturbed, their symmetry preserved. Ellipticals gather where collisions are common, where many galaxies meet and merge, blending into roundness. Shapes, you realize, are not only products of physics, but also of environment. A galaxy's form is a diary, a record of what it has endured. You pause to imagine the dance of two galaxies approaching one another. At first, they are separate, distinct spirals or ellipses turning on their own. As they draw closer, their shapes begin to distort. Gravity stretches them, pulling out long tidal tails of stars that sweep into space like brushstrokes on a canvas. Over millions of years, their arms may tear apart, their centers collide, and what emerges is something new. Perhaps an elliptical galaxy, smoother, more blended, with its spirals erased by the violence of union. And yet, even in collision, beauty is born. New stars ignite from the compressed gas, lighting up the merging galaxies with bursts of brilliance. Out of chaos comes creation, and the shape that follows carries both memory and renewal. You think about the spiral again. Why does it comfort you? Perhaps because it is familiar. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is a spiral, though you cannot see its full form from inside it. If you could drift far enough away, you would see curved arms unfurling outward, dotted with billions of stars. You would see a barred center, a bright band of stars stretching across its heart like a handle that steadies the wheel of the spiral. You live within this design, a single point in its vast architecture, a resident of one of its arms. The thought is humbling, but also calming. You belong to a pattern greater than yourself, a form written across light years. Shapes are not merely visual, they are the language of motion. Every spiral, every ellipse, every irregular form is a response to the forces of gravity and time. They are conversations between matter and movement, written slowly, patiently, without haste. To see them is to read the silent poetry of the cosmos. As you linger with these galaxies, you notice the silence. There is no sound here, no echo of the collisions or the swirling of arms. Yet the silence is not empty. It is full of rhythm, the rhythm of shapes turning, of stars tracing orbits, of forms shifting across millions of years. Stillness here does not mean the absence of motion. It means the presence of balance. of harmony so vast it feels eternal. You breathe with this rhythm. You let the spirals turn in your mind. Let the ellipses soften your thoughts. Let the irregulars remind you that beauty exists in unpredictability. Each shape teaches you something about patience, about time, about the way the universe allows forms to emerge and dissolve. And yet, you know there is more. Shapes are only the surface, the visible expression of deeper stories. Beneath the spirals and ellipses lies the unseen, dark matter, the invisible framework that holds galaxies together. Without it, the arms would scatter, the shapes would unravel. It is not visible, not directly, but it is present in every curve, every turn of the galaxies you see. You feel yourself pulled gently toward this mystery, sensing that the story of shapes cannot be complete without understanding the hidden threads that bind them. The galaxies you watch are not only what they appear to be, they are anchored invisibly by something more, something unseen yet essential. And so, as you drift away from the spirals and ellipses, from the irregularities and the merging forms, you carry this quiet realization: shapes are invitations. They are doors that lead deeper into the hidden architecture of the universe. You are ready to step through, to wonder what invisible hands hold galaxies in their graceful forms. The silence deepens. The stars dim slightly in your awareness, and you feel the weight of the next question gathering softly in your mind. If shapes are born of balance, what is it that secretly holds the balance in place? Invisible and quiet, dark matter builds the framework for everything you see. You drift through its unseen halls, sensing its presence, though you cannot touch it. It cradles galaxies, holds them steady, and shapes their paths, a hidden architect, whispering through the universe. In silence, it writes the structure of the cosmos, guiding the dance of stars and light. You float in stillness now, among galaxies that gleam like lanterns on the velvet ocean of the night. Their shapes and spirals, their clusters and chains, all seem to drift freely, like petals scattered on the wind. But you begin to sense that there is more here than what your eyes can trace. Something vast, something invisible, moves behind the curtain of light. It does not shine. It does not glow. Yet, without it, the galaxies would fall apart, dissolving like mist in the morning air. This is dark matter, the quiet architect of the cosmos. You cannot hold it, you cannot see it. Even light, that most curious traveler, passes through it without a flicker. And yet, dark matter is everywhere. It forms a kind of scaffolding, a hidden skeleton upon which the galaxies are hung like jewels. If the galaxies are lanterns, then dark matter is the invisible thread that holds them suspended in the dark. You breathe slowly, drifting deeper into this thought. Imagine holding a map of the night sky. You trace your finger along the spirals, clusters, and chains of stars. At first, it looks like random beauty, scattered at chance. But when you feel beneath the surface, you discover an order, a pattern, like the veins of a leaf or the branching of a tree. That pattern is the mark of dark matter, guiding light into shape. The story of dark matter begins not with stars, but with motion. Long ago, astronomers watched galaxies turn, their spirals spinning gracefully like pinwheels. But the stars at the edges moved too fast. By every visible measure, they should have flown away, scattered into space. And yet, they stayed. Something unseen was holding them in place. An invisible hand balancing the cosmic wheel. You might picture it as walking through a quiet forest. The trees sway gently in the wind, and you sense currents of air, though you cannot see them. Matter is like that wind, unseen, but always present, shaping what you do see. It makes up most of the matter in the universe, far more than the stars and dust that dazzle your eyes. The universe you can see is only the surface of a deep and hidden sea. Drift now, as if your mind is moving through that unseen ocean. Dark matter gathers in great halos, vast clouds that cradle galaxies. Without them, the stars would scatter. With them, galaxies can breathe and grow, bound together by gravity's quiet hand. You may wonder, if it is invisible, how do you know it is real? The answer lies in the way it pulls, in the way it bends the path of light itself. As light from distant galaxies travels toward you, it sometimes curves, as though sliding over invisible hills and valleys. This bending is called gravitational lensing, and it reveals the weight of dark matter pressing invisibly across the cosmos. You never see the hand itself, only the fingerprints it leaves behind, and so dark matter becomes like a dream remembered only by its echoes. You cannot hold the dream, yet you know it shaped your night. In the same way, you cannot hold dark matter, yet you see the galaxies resting in its silent embrace. It is humbling, isn't it, to realize that most of what makes the universe is hidden from view. Your eyes, evolved to see sunlight on leaves and the glimmer of fire in the dark, are blind to most of existence. But your mind can reach further. With science, you can sense what your sight cannot. Now, imagine drifting outward, away from a single galaxy, into the web of the cosmos. You see not just stars and light, but vast threads of gravity, pulling matter into rivers and knots. Dark matter forms the scaffolding, the deep framework, and galaxies grow along its bones like blossoms on branches. Emptiness, but through structure, a hidden architecture woven with silence. What is dark matter made of? That is still a mystery. Some imagine it as particles that slip between atoms, so subtle they pass through Earth, through your body, without a trace. Others imagine it as something stranger, beyond the reach of today's instruments. The universe keeps this secret close, as if reminding you that wonder lives not only in what is known, but also in what is yet to be understood. You pause here, breathing into the quiet. Dark matter does not hurry. It has been here since the beginning, guiding, shaping, holding. In its stillness, you feel a kind of comfort, the knowledge that even in silence, there is presence. Even in invisibility, there is strength. Think of your own body for a moment. Beneath the skin and breath, you are held together by bones you cannot see. Bones that give you form, that allow you to move, to rest, to dream. In the same way, dark matter is the skeleton of the universe, giving shape to everything you witness. Without bones, the body cannot stand. Without dark matter, galaxies cannot endure. The night feels deeper now. You are learning to listen not only to the stars that shine, but to the quiet forces that hold them. The story of the cosmos is not written only in light, but also in shadow. And the shadows, though unseen, are faithful companions. You drift further, imagining again the galaxies resting like pearls upon an invisible thread. Their dance is not random. It is guided, sustained, nurtured by something greater than light. Dark matter hums in silence, a cosmic lullaby too low for ears to hear, too soft for eyes to see. You wonder if the universe hides this much from you, how much more might remain unseen. If dark matter is the silent architect of matter, might there be something similar guiding the energy of the cosmos? Something even stranger, more elusive, waiting in the quiet expanses between galaxies. You hold that thought like a candle in the dark. The stars still glow, the galaxies still spin, and beneath them all, the unseen hand continues its work, steady and patient. The universe whispers, reminding you that what you cannot see is as powerful as what you can. You drift, your breath soft, your mind open, waiting for the next mystery to arrive. You float among giants that drift closer together, slowly colliding, blending their stars like merging rivers of light. From chaos comes beauty, new shapes, new stars, new homes for planets to form. Galaxies do not fight, they dance, they fold, and they become more. In their meeting, the universe reminds you that endings are never only endings. You are drifting now through a quiet sea of stars, and in the distance you see two shapes approaching. At first, they seem impossibly far apart, each holding its own luminous spiral, each wrapped in a halo of unseen matter. They move slowly, so slowly, that to your human sense of time, it feels as though nothing changes. Yet over the stretch of millions, even billions of years, their paths bend toward one another. Gravity draws them close. These are galaxies, immense cities of stars, gas, and dust drifting through the dark. And here, in this wide and silent ocean, they do not remain apart forever. They meet, they merge. You may imagine collisions as violent as shattering. But the merging of galaxies is not a crash of stone upon stone. It is slower, softer, more like rivers of light blending together. The stars inside do not often collide directly. The space between them is vast. Instead, they weave past each other, pulled by gravity into new patterns, reshaped into forms both strange and beautiful. You picture it like two dancers moving across a stage. At first, they circle at a distance, each turning within its own rhythm. Then, slowly, they draw. Near arms, extending movements, entwining, until the dance is one. The galaxies, too, are dancers, their spirals twisting, their stars scattering, their gas clouds colliding to ignite new bursts of creation. If you look closely, you see streams of stars flung outward like ribbons, long tidal tails stretching across space. These tails shine faintly, carrying stars far from their birthplace, leaving trails that mark the memory of the collision. In the heart of the merging galaxies, gas clouds squeeze together, birthing waves of new stars that blaze into life. In their meeting, chaos gives way to renewal. Perhaps you pause here, reflecting on how endings and beginnings are woven together. A galaxy's spiral arms may be torn, yet in that tearing, new structures emerge. A galaxy's shape may warp and distort, yet in that distortion, fresh stars ignite, worlds may form, and life may someday awaken. The universe, in its quiet patience, shows you that transformation is its way. You drift deeper into this thought, feeling the rhythm of cosmic time. These mergers do not happen quickly. They unfold over hundreds of millions of years. To a galaxy, time is fluid, unhurried, expansive. What feels to you like eternity is, to the cosmos, a single step in its dance. Look now to your own home, the Milky Way, the galaxy that cradles your sun and your world, is itself drifting toward a neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. Across the void, Andromeda glimmers like a lantern, faint but steady. In 4 billion years, these two giants will meet, their stars intermingling, their shapes twisting into something new. It is a story already written into their paths, a future sealed by gravity's pull, and yet you need not think of it with fear. The stars of the Milky Way and Andromeda are separated by such vast distances that when the galaxies merge, most stars will pass quietly by, never touching. Your sun may drift into a new orbit, carried gently into a reshaped sky. Perhaps the night will be filled with strange constellations, unfamiliar patterns of light. Perhaps Earth will be gone by then, yet new worlds, far away, may gaze upon the brilliant glow of a sky transformed by merging galaxies. You let this vision rest in your mind. 2 galaxies meeting, 2 rivers of stars folding into one. The image is both grand and tender. There is another secret here. Galaxies are more than their visible stars. They are held together by halos of dark matter, the silent architects you have already met. When galaxies merge, it is these vast halos that entwine first, stretching and binding, drawing the stars along like ships caught in a deep current. The dance you see in light is guided by the shadow you cannot see. Even the great black holes at the hearts of galaxies take part in this cosmic meeting. When galaxies merge, their central black holes spiral closer, circling one another like twin anchors. Over immense time, they too will merge, releasing waves of energy that ripple through the fabric of space itself. Gravitational waves, faint tremors that travel across the universe. You may imagine them as a deep, resonant sound that you cannot hear, but that the cosmos never forgets. As you drift among these thoughts, you realize that collisions are not destruction, but creation through change. The galaxies do not vanish, they transform. Their stars continue to shine, their worlds continue to orbit, and their light continues to travel outward. The universe uses even collision as a brushstroke in its endless painting. Perhaps you remember rivers on Earth to waters joining, their currents mixing, their colors blending into one. Or perhaps you think of human lives, separate journeys, that one day meet, weaving into stories neither could write alone. The merging of galaxies is not so different. It is a reminder, written in stars, that togetherness reshapes what is possible. You breathe slowly, allowing this vision to settle like a lullaby. All around you, galaxies are merging, dancing, reshaping the night. Some form vast elliptical shapes, great glowing ovals that cradle trillions of stars. Others stretch into long bridges, chains of light that arc across the sky. Every collision is different, every dance unique, yet all carry the same lesson. From meeting comes more, and as you watch, you begin to wonder, what does it mean for the cosmos that galaxies do not remain as they are? That even the grandest spirals are only chapters in a longer story. Perhaps the universe is reminding you that nothing is fixed, that change is not an ending, but a continuation. You hold this thought gently, like a stone warmed by sunlight. In the silence of deep space, you notice how calm the process truly is. No firestorms of destruction, no shattering crashes, just slow, graceful motion, stars drifting, gas clouds colliding, dark matter weaving, unseen bonds. The word collision feels too harsh, too hurried for what you are witnessing. It is not a crash, it is a union, a folding together, a becoming. Your breath deepens as you rest in this vision. The galaxies remind you that even across billions of years, the universe is never still. It is always growing, always weaving, always reshaping itself. In every merging, there is loss. Yes, the old spirals fade, but there is also gain. New stars, new worlds, new patterns, a beauty greater than before. You think again of the Milky Way and Andromeda, destined to become one. The night sky, long after you are gone, will be filled with their shared glow. Other beings, in times yet to come, may look upward and see a sky of wonder born from that meeting. They may never know the galaxies as separate things, only as one great shining whole. You close your eyes for a moment, imagining the slow drift of time, the endless patience of the cosmos. The galaxies move, they meet, they merge, and in their meeting, you are reminded that the universe is not only vast, it is also alive with motion, alive with transformation, alive with quiet, unstoppable change. And so, you drift onward, carrying this understanding with you. The galaxies do not resist their meeting. They accept it. They fold into it. They become more because of it. And perhaps, in your own way, you too can learn from that acceptance, that in change, there is not only loss, but also becoming. At the heart of galaxies lies a silence deeper than night. Invisible giants wait, pulling stars and time toward them. You drift close, sensing their strength, not as violence, but as balance. They are not only endings, they are shapers, guardians, and guides. In their stillness, galaxies find rhythm, and the universe learns to grow. You float into the center of a galaxy, where the light is brightest, and the stars crowd close together. The spiral arms you have followed curl inward like gentle rivers, pouring everything toward a hidden source. At first, there is only brightness, waves of stars crossing your vision, clusters glowing like lanterns in fog. But then you sense it, a quiet presence, something unseen, something that shapes without being seen itself. At the very heart of this galaxy, as in so many others, rests a black hole. It is not what the name suggests, not simply an emptiness, not just a void. It is a presence so dense that even light cannot escape. Yet you do not feel fear. Here you feel awe, as though you are standing before an ancient mountain, unmoving, patient, yet central to everything around it. You drift closer, but you never fall in. Instead, you hover at a safe distance, watching how the stars curve in their orbits, how the gas and dust whirl into glowing streams. These are not random motions. They are dances, guided by the quiet hand of gravity. The black hole does not need to be seen to be known. Its influence is written into the paths of stars, into the spirals of light that turn forever around it. A black hole begins its life as something smaller, something familiar. A star, once brilliant, reaches the end of its fuel. It collapses inward, folding under its own weight until the collapse becomes unstoppable. A black hole is born. The one you face now is not small. It is millions, perhaps billions of times the mass of our own sun. Such giants are called supermassive black holes. How they came to be so large is still a mystery whispered across the halls of science. Perhaps they grew slowly, swallowing stars and gas. Or perhaps they began enormously, born in the violent early universe. You imagine this black hole not as a monster, but as a seed. Around it, the galaxy has grown. Its mass has given structure. Its pool has offered balance. Without it, perhaps the galaxy would not be as steady. Perhaps the stars would drift in looser, wilder patterns. This quiet giant has no need to roar to show its strength. Its silence is enough. From time to time, a black hole does awaken. Gas drifts too near, falling inward, spiraling in, faster and faster. As it falls, it heats, it glows, it shines with a power so great that it can outshine the galaxy itself. These are quasars, brilliant beacons of the distant universe. If you had come here during such a time, you would see the black hole not as darkness, but as a blazing lighthouse, sending its light across billions of years. Yet even then, the light does not come from the black hole itself. It comes from what? It cannot keep the energy released before matter disappears beyond its horizon. The horizon itself, the event horizon, is the boundary you cannot cross. You can approach, but never pass through and return. It is not a wall, but a point of no return. For you, floating here, the horizon is invisible, yet you feel its presence, the way a shoreline feels the tug of the sea. You let yourself imagine what it would be like to drift closer. As you approach, time itself begins to change. To a distant observer, you would appear to slow down, to stretch into eternity, as though you never quite crossed the boundary. To you, time would continue, but the universe outside would seem to race forward. Stars aging, galaxies shifting, eons passing in moments. A black hole does not only bend space, it bends time. It is a reminder that reality itself is woven, flexible, responsive to mass and motion. And yet, even as they bend and swallow, black holes give back. They shape galaxies, stir the gas that will become stars, regulate the growth of their cosmic homes. Some scientists say that without them, galaxies would be too wild, too unruly, their stars burning out too quickly. The black hole, by feeding and releasing energy, keeps the balance. You think of them as quiet gardeners, unseen hands, pruning, guiding, making room for life to grow in the long dance of stars. Even now, at this calm moment, you can sense how stars at the center move differently from those farther out. They orbit faster, whipped around by the black hole's unseen pull. Entire clusters circle like dancers in a whirlpool, yet they do not collapse inward. They hold their distance, held in a balance that seems delicate, yet has lasted for billions of years. The silence here is not empty. It hums with the weight of presence, a kind of gravity that you do not hear but feel. It presses gently, reminding you that some truths of the universe are invisible, known not by sight but by their effects. The galaxy itself depends on this center. Without the anchor, its arms might unravel, its stars might scatter, its shape might fade. The black hole, unseen, ensures that the story of the galaxy continues. You begin to realize how much of the universe is built upon what cannot be seen. First, there was dark matter, invisible but steady, shaping the great web of galaxies. Now, there are black holes, invisible but powerful, shaping the heart of each galaxy. Again and again, the universe reminds you that the unseen is not the unimportant. Often, it is the foundation. And so you drift here, in the presence of this quiet giant, not in fear, but in reverence. You imagine the countless galaxies beyond, each with its own center, its own silent anchor, its own black hole holding space and time together. The scale is immense, but the rhythm is familiar. Presence, balance, silence. The stars wheel around you, calm and endless. You breathe with them, as if their orbits were the rise and fall of your chest. You feel small, but also connected, part of this great balancing act that stretches across the cosmos. The black hole remains unseen, but you know it is there, and that is enough. The universe is not always what it seems. Sometimes it's most powerful. Architects are invisible. Sometimes its greatest guardians are silent. And sometimes what appears to be an end is instead a beginning. You begin to wonder what might emerge from such stillness. What forms and patterns are yet to come, born from the silence of these hidden giants. You wander into clouds more delicate than smoke, stretched across light years of space. They shimmer faintly, warmed by the seeds of future suns. Dust and gas swirl, gathering, whispering, waiting for the right moment to ignite. Here, galaxies breathe, exhaling new stars into the dark. You drift slowly, watching dreams become light. You drift away from the quiet giant at the heart of the galaxy. The black hole, with its unseen gravity, fades behind you, and ahead lies something softer. No longer are you pulled by silence. Instead, you are drawn into a mist, a cloud so vast it stretches across hundreds of light years. A cloud so delicate you could almost imagine your hand passing through it, as though fog at dawn. This is not fog, though. This is a nebula, a stellar nursery where stars are born. At first glance, it seems empty. Wisps of gas and dust float, thin enough that you could travel for years and never feel their presence. Yet from a distance, the cloud glows. It glows because young stars, hidden inside, warm it gently. Their light spills outward, scattering in colors you cannot see on Earth. Soft pinks from hydrogen, faint greens from oxygen, even blues from scattered starlight. It is as though the universe has painted with breath, brushing clouds with light so tender it feels alive. You move deeper inside. The darkness between stars grows thicker, but within this darkness, promise stirs. These clouds are the wombs of suns. Inside them, atoms gather, dust, grains touch, and gravity begins its slow, patient work. What feels soft and calm to you is, on cosmic timescales, a place of great change. Tiny ripples of matter begin to clump together. They grow heavier, drawing more gas, pulling, collecting, until eventually a core is formed. And when that core grows dense enough, when the weight presses atoms so close that they cannot resist, fusion begins. A new star is born. You imagine it, a flicker in the cloud, first dim, then brighter, until it pierces the mist with steady light. To witness a star's birth is to see energy emerge from stillness, warmth from cold. The cloud that once seemed empty has become a source of light for planets yet unformed, for life yet unimagined. These clouds are often shaped by what came before. The death of older stars blows bubbles into the gas, compressing the edges, creating ripples where new stars can form. In this way, endings create beginnings, just as the ashes of one fire feed the soil for new growth. The galaxy breathes in cycles. Stars are born, stars die, and from their remnants, new stars rise. You pause to take in the scale. A single cloud can cradle thousands of stars, each one destined to shine for millions or billions of years. Some may form into systems like our own, with planets circling quietly in the dark. Others may shine alone, bright but solitary, until their light fades. Every point of starlight you see in the night sky was once born in such a nursery, nurtured by the warmth of its siblings, pushed into life by the weight of its own gravity. You think about how small the beginnings are. A single grain of dust, smaller than the width of a hair, floating quietly for ages, can one day become part of a mountain, a planet, or even the surface of a living world. The universe begins with whispers, yet those whispers grow into voices, bright enough to fill galaxies. As you move farther through the nebula, you notice shapes forming pillars, ridges, and columns of dust. They rise like great statues, carved not by hands, but by light itself. Young stars nearby release winds of energy that sculpt the clouds into these towering forms. The famous pillars of creation, as humans call them, are but one example. They look like mountains in the sky, yet they are made of nothing but gas and dust, shaped by the invisible breath of starlight. Here, creation is not sudden. It is slow, patient, like the rhythm of your own breathing as you drift. It may take millions of years for a single star to form fully, to settle into its shining life. And yet the process continues, unhurried, steady, woven into the fabric of the cosmos. You wonder about the first stars, long ago, when the universe was young. Back then, there were no heavy elements, no dust from earlier stars. Only hydrogen and helium filled the early universe, the simplest of ingredients. From that simplicity, the first stars were born, massive and short-lived. They burned hot and fast, and when they died, they seeded the cosmos with heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, the building blocks of planets, of oceans, of life itself. Without them, these clouds would be different. Without them, you would not exist to drift here now. You feel a quiet connection. Not only are stars born in these nurseries, but so too are the atoms within you, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you breathe, the iron flowing in your blood. All of it was forged in stars that once burned, then scattered their ashes into space. You are, in a very real way, a child of such clouds. The nebula glows gently around you. You see a small cluster ahead, newborn stars, their light still wrapped in wisps of gas. Some shine blue-white, blazing with energy. Others are redder, smaller, and longer-lived. They are like a family, born together, but destined to drift apart over time. Gravity binds them for now, but the galaxy will eventually pull them into separate paths. Still, for this moment, they share the same birthplace, the same breath of creation. You drift closer, and you can almost hear the faint hum of their warmth. The stars are still young, still finding balance, but already they push away the very clouds that birthed them. The winds of radiation scatter the gas, clearing space for planets to form. This is how solar systems begin. Around each young star, disks of dust circle, thin and fragile. Within those disks, grains collide, stick, and grow. From pebbles come rocks, from rocks come mountains, from mountains come worlds. It is astonishing to think that somewhere, in a cloud like this, a world may already be forming, one that will one day host oceans, skies, and perhaps beings who will look up and wonder about their place in the universe. All of it begins here, in the hush of these nurseries, in the slow dance of dust and light. You let yourself float still for a moment. The vastness does not overwhelm you. Instead, it soothes you. Creation here is not chaotic, but calm, almost meditative. It reminds you that even the greatest transformations begin quietly, invisibly, with small steps that build over time. The cloud stretches endlessly, filled with both darkness and light. Some regions remain cool and quiet, waiting for gravity to awaken them. Others shine brightly, where stars already burn. Everywhere you look, there is balance between stillness and becoming, between what is and what will be. You breathe in, as though you could join in this rhythm, in the rise and fall of the nebula's glow. You feel the heartbeat of the galaxy itself. And as you begin to move again, you notice something subtle. The stars born here do not stay. They drift outward, filling the arms of the galaxy, carrying light into regions that were once dark. The nurseries are temporary. Their children leave, their gas is scattered, and over time the cloud dissolves. But its purpose is complete. It has given birth to light. The cycle continues. Black holes guide the centers. Star nurseries breathe. New life and galaxies find their rhythm in these twin forces of creation and silence. You are only passing through, but the memory of this glow will follow you, like the warmth of a candle long after its flame has gone. You float with galaxies as they drift away from one another, carried on the tide of expansion. The space between them grows wider, like breath slowly exhaling. Though they drift apart, their light still reaches across the dark, connecting one to another in timeless silence. You listen to the quiet rhythm of the universe, stretching, patient and endless. You find yourself suspended in silence, a silence so vast that it feels less like the absence of sound and more like the presence of infinite listening. Around you, galaxies glow like lanterns in a midnight field. Some burn with steady brilliance, others shimmer faintly, as if almost ready to slip into memory. And yet, though they shine together, you notice something subtle, something that makes you pause. They are not holding still. They drift. Everywhere you look, galaxies move apart, slowly, steadily, as if guided by a breath too large to be felt. You sense it not as a sudden rush, but as a continuous, patient widening the universe, stretching its arms wider with each passing moment. The stars inside galaxies whirl, but the galaxies themselves drift farther from one another, like small boats carried apart on a gentle tide. This motion is not chaos. It is a rhythm. It is the quiet pulse of expansion, the very fabric of space unfolding itself. You do not feel wind or current or the push of force. Instead, you feel space itself expanding beneath you, like the rise of a chest inhaling dotted. Is here you begin to wonder, why do galaxies move away from each other? Why does space not hold them still? The answer is not in the galaxies themselves, but in the stage they rest upon the cosmos, stretching since its first moment. Long ago, the universe was compressed into something far smaller, a dense and glowing beginning. Then, in a sudden release, it began to expand. Not an explosion, as people once imagined, but an unfolding, a quiet release of tension, as if a tightly drawn fabric had been let loose. That release never ended. The expansion continues, even now, and you are floating within its quiet drift. At first, the galaxies were close, clustered in their youth, light blending with light. Over time, the distances grew. Imagine ink dropped in water, spreading outward in ripples. Each drop drifts from the others, carried not because it swims, but because the water itself expands around it. So too with galaxies. No galaxy flies outward through space. Rather, space itself grows, carrying them with it. You feel the poetry of this truth. Galaxies are not running from one another. They are not rejecting. They are simply being carried. Expansion is not a choice, is the nature of the fabric itself. As you drift, you notice something more subtle still. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it seems to move from you. This is no illusion. It is the essence of what astronomer Edwin Hubble once discovered, that the speed of recession grows with distance. A nearby galaxy creeps away slowly, while one at great distance flees with unimaginable haste. It is as though the fabric stretches more between distant points, pulling them apart with increasing urgency. To your eye, this effect paints the sky with a curious hue. The light of distant galaxies is stretched as space stretches, their colors sliding into redder tones. This redshift is not merely a trick of color, it is a signature, a whisper in the wavelength of light, telling you how the universe itself has moved since the moment that light began its journey. Each photon is a traveler, stretched thin by the space it crosses, carrying in its lengthened wave the history of expansion. You close your eyes and imagine time reversed. The galaxies pull closer, the light grows bluer, distances shrink back and back until the universe folds into its earlier self, smaller, brighter, denser. And if you push further, you arrive at the beginning when all was contained in something unspeakably compact, a singular moment of birth. But here, now you drift forward in time, not backward. The expansion continues. The galaxies move apart. The distances widen into silence. And then a new thought comes quietly. Will this widening ever stop? For a long time, scientists asked the same question. Perhaps they thought gravity, the universal embrace, would one day slow the expansion, drawing galaxies back together. Perhaps everything would reverse, folding into a final collapse. A great breathing of the cosmos, out, then in. But observations told a different story. The drift is not slowing. It is quickening. The galaxies are not merely moving apart, they are accelerating, as though some hidden energy pushes them outward with growing insistence. This invisible presence is called dark energy, a name as mysterious as the thing itself. You cannot see it, cannot touch it, cannot hold it. It is a soft, persistent push, woven into the very structure of space, urging galaxies apart faster than before. Dark energy is the reason the universe's expansion is not slowing into stillness. Instead, It accelerates like a tide that never recedes. The future stretches outward endlessly, carrying galaxies farther and farther until their light becomes so faint, so redshifted, that they slip beyond visibility. This thought carries both sadness and wonder. Sadness, because one day distant galaxies will be invisible to any observer who looks up from another world, another time. The night sky will grow emptier, lonelier, its brilliant constellations thinned, and yet wonder, too. For even now, in this moment, you are able to witness the drift. You are able to see the light of galaxies that began their journey billions of years ago. Each photon is a gift from the past, a thread of connection across unimaginable distance. Though galaxies drift apart, their light still finds its way, touching you gently, reminding you that separation is not absence. You imagine each galaxy as a lantern set afloat on a dark sea. The lanterns drift away from one another, but their glow lingers, their light carried across the water. Even as the space between them widens, the memory of their brightness remains. This is the paradox of the universe's expansion. Though everything drifts apart, everything also remains connected by light. The farther the light has traveled, the more of the universe's story it carries. To look into the night is to read an ancient record, written not on paper, but on waves of light stretched thin by distance and time. And so you float, listening to this silent record. You notice how expansion is not something you feel in your own body. You do not stretch. Your breath does not lengthen with the universe's drift. The expansion lives on scales too vast for the fragile anchor of the human frame. Gravity holds Earth, Earth holds you, and so you remain steady. But in the spaces between galaxies, where gravity's hand loosens, expansion moves freely, unstopped. Like a slow tide across eternity, you think of breath again. The universe inhales, space fills, galaxies drift apart. There is no hurry in this breath. It is the longest exhalation imaginable, one that will last for billions of years more. You are simply present for a moment of it, watching from the shore. And in this watching, a strange calm arrives. You realize that expansion is not destruction. It is the creation of space itself. Without this widening, galaxies could not have formed as they did. Stars could not have lit their fires, and planets like yours could not have found the quiet distance needed to thrive. Expansion gives room for life to exist. The endless drift is not a tearing, but a gentle granting of space. You breathe with it now, in and out. The galaxies move, the universe widens, and you drift within it, part of the same rhythm, part of the same unfolding. As you linger in this thought, you notice a question rising at the edge of your awareness. If galaxies drift apart, carried by expansion, then what becomes of their light, their whispers across distance, their fragile record of time? Will the story of the universe always be told, or will it fade into silence as the drift continues? The thought remains with you, soft, unanswered, waiting quietly for the next chapter. You return to the present, where Earth rests in the arms of the Milky Way. You see your home as part of a great, unfolding story, one galaxy among countless others. Each star, each orbit, is part of a rhythm older than memory. The universe is still drifting, and you drift with it endlessly. You arrive home, not home in the sense of your house or the familiar streets, but a deeper home, the galaxy that holds you. The Milky Way surrounds you now, stretching outward like a spiral of silver mist, a whirlpool of light flowing through endless darkness. You hover inside it, but you are not outside looking in. You are inside looking deeper, wandering through its arms as though you were tracing the soft spirals of a seashell. The arms curl gracefully, star upon star, gas upon dust. Between them lies emptiness, but even emptiness is alive here. Thin clouds of hydrogen drift invisibly, waiting to gather, waiting to kindle. You sense their patience, the way the universe is never in a hurry. Stars may take millions of years to awaken, yet the galaxy holds them gently, as if time itself is breathing through its structure. You drift toward the galactic center. It is far away, 25,000 light years from where Earth rests. Yet here, in this imagined journey, you travel effortlessly, drawn by curiosity. The stars grow thicker as you approach. Around you, billions upon billions of suns fill the sky, their combined glow forming the golden haze we sometimes see from Earth, as the bright band of the Milky Way stretching overhead. What looks like a faint cloud to your naked eye is, in truth, the light of countless stars, woven together in distance and time. Near the center lies a mystery you have already touched, the quiet giant, the black hole called Sagittarius A*. It waits in silence, pulling but not devouring all. Around it, stars orbit with dizzying speed, completing paths in mere decades rather than millions of years. You feel the gravity here, not as a force pressing on your body, but as a pull on your thoughts. It is as if this center whispers, everything belongs, everything circles, everything connects, but you turn away, and your thoughts return outward, toward Earth's quiet corner of the Milky Way. Earth is not near the core. It rests far out in one of the spiral arms, the Orion arm, a smaller branch between two grander spirals. Here, stars are spread more gently, and space is wide enough to give life room to grow. You pause. You think of Earth, not as a planet underfoot, but as a fragile spark within this vast river of stars. A small world circling a modest star, the Sun, which itself is one of hundreds of billions. And yet, here you are. Out of all places in the galaxy, you belong to this one. Out of all the stars you might have circled, it is this star that warms you. Out of all the galaxies in the universe, it is this galaxy that carries you through space. You drift closer to the solar system, watching the spiral arms fall back into a grand backdrop. You see the sun shining quietly, not remarkable compared to other stars, but to you, it is everything. The sun gathers planets in its grasp, holding them like beads on a thread, each orbiting with steady rhythm. You notice Earth, a blue spark, wrapped in white clouds. It glows faintly, as though it is aware of being watched, aware of its fragile beauty. Earth is not large. From this distance, it is almost nothing. But you know that on its surface lies every story ever told, every breath ever taken, every dream that ever rose in the silence of night. The oceans shimmer, the forests breathe, the mountains stand in silence. You see how small it is, and yet how infinite it feels. You think of the journey you have taken. You floated through dark matter, the invisible web that binds galaxies. You drifted among colliding galaxies, watched their stars mingle like rivers of light. You stood at the edges of black holes and wandered through star nurseries where new suns awakened. You felt the expansion of the universe, the endless drift of galaxies moving apart. And now you are here, standing on the shore of your own cosmic ocean, looking back and forward at once. Looking back, you see the story that brought you here. The universe began not with silence, but with expansion, a sudden unfolding of space itself. From that moment, matter gathered, stars were born, galaxies spun. Through every collision, every collapse, every flare of light, the path has been winding toward this. You, standing in wonder, looking forward, you see possibilities. The universe is still expanding, still unfolding, still creating new patterns. Beyond imagination, your galaxy will one day collide with Andromeda. Your sun will one day fade, but the story does not end. It changes, it continues, it breathes. You realize that your place is both small and vast. Small because Earth is only a speck. Vast because to be aware of it at all is to be as large as the stars you observe. Consciousness is the universe noticing itself. When you look up at the night sky, you are not just a person gazing outward. You are the galaxy seeing its own reflection, the cosmos folding inward to whisper, "I exist." You breathe slowly. The thought is soothing. The universe is not rushing. Galaxies drift apart over billions of years. Stars live and die in spans beyond imagination. Your life is brief compared to theirs, but not less meaningful. For in the shortness of time lies intensity, the gift of urgency. You can wonder now. You can love now. You can feel the mystery now. You drift again through the Milky Way's arms, but this time you see them differently. Not just as spirals of stars, but as spirals of possibility. Each star might hold planets. Each planet might hold oceans. Each ocean might hold life, waiting in silence, breathing unknown air, gazing at their own night skies. You realize you are not alone in potential. You are part of a vast, unfinished story, one that may hold countless readers in other corners. Of the dark, the galaxy turns slowly. You feel its rotation as a long breath, so vast that no single life could ever notice it move, yet it moves. The spiral arms drift, the stars shift, the galaxy sways like a great lantern turning in the night. You float in its rhythm, feeling its patience, its steadiness, its endlessness. Looking back, you see how far you have come in this journey. Looking forward, you see how far there is still to go. The story does not end with galaxies colliding or stars being born. It continues with you carrying this awareness into your own life. When you step outside and see the stars, you are not stepping out into emptiness. You are stepping into belonging. You are made of this. Your body holds atoms, forged in ancient stars, atoms that once flared in light, cooled, drifted, and gathered into you. You are not separate from the galaxy. You are its child, its thought, its whisper, carried on a fragile breath. You float quietly, the Milky Way's arms around you, Earth glowing softly below. The universe expands still, galaxies drift apart still, but here you are, aware, alive, at rest in the unfolding. And you wonder, softly, without urgency, where the story will drift next. And so, our drift through the cosmos slows. You have wandered across the quiet birthplaces of galaxies, where clouds of gas and dust gather, where light begins, and where the universe shapes itself in silence. But the story of the stars does not end here. Each galaxy you've seen tonight continues to grow, continues to change, just as you continue your own quiet journey. The cosmos is never finished, and neither is our exploration. If this voyage has brought you calm, if the wonder of galaxies has eased your mind, I invite you to stay connected. Leave a gentle like, so that more dreamers may discover this space of peace. Leave a thoughtful comment, and share what images or feelings stayed with you tonight. You may even choose to share this video, offering a moment of rest and curiosity to someone else who may need it. And if you wish to return again and again to drift among the stars with me, please subscribe. Each new chapter will be waiting here, like another step deeper into the universe. Now, as we leave these galaxies behind, let their light linger softly in your thoughts. Breathe slowly, carry this calm with you. And remember, the cosmos is vast, but so is the quiet within you. Until we meet again, under another sky.